Most Christians believe that their time with God happens during a specific moment of the day. Maybe it's during a quiet morning devotion. Maybe it's during prayer before bed, or during worship at church. Those moments are beautiful, and they matter deeply. But what if walking with God was never meant to be limited to a single moment in your day? What if it was meant to become something much greater? What if it was meant to become the atmosphere of your entire life? Many believers unknowingly live as if God is only available during spiritual moments, when they sit down to pray, when they open their Bible, when they create a quiet space. But once the day becomes busy, once responsibilities begin, once work, family, and life start moving quickly, that sense of connection with God seems to disappear. So people begin to feel like their spiritual life is fragmented. There's the moment with God, and then there's the rest of life. But the beautiful truth of the gospel is that God never intended to be a small part of your day. He intended to walk with you through all of it, through ordinary moments, through small tasks, through quiet thoughts, through the simple rhythm of daily life. One of the biggest misunderstandings many Christians have is the idea that they must somehow reach God, that they must climb their way toward Him through effort, focus, or spiritual discipline. But the Scriptures repeatedly tell us something very different. God is not distant. He is not waiting for you to reach the perfect level of spirituality before He draws near. In fact, the Bible tells us that God is already closer than we realize. Sometimes the issue is not that God is far away. The issue is that we have not yet learned to become aware of His nearness. Walking with God often begins with something very simple, not trying harder, but remembering that He is already here. And when you begin to see it this way, walking with God becomes much more natural. It becomes something that flows into the small moments of your day. It might look like speaking to Him while you're driving to work. It might be thanking Him quietly while you complete a task. It might be turning your thoughts toward Him when you feel stressed or uncertain. Sometimes it's nothing more than a simple thought like, "Thank you, Lord," or "Help me here," or even, "I trust you." These small, quiet moments may seem insignificant, but they are powerful, because every time your heart turns toward God, even briefly, you are acknowledging His presence. And those small acknowledgments slowly build a life of continuous fellowship. Some people struggle with this idea because they believe their prayers must always be long and deeply focused. But real fellowship with God doesn't always look like long prayers. Often it looks like many small moments of connection scattered throughout your day. Moments of gratitude, moments of trust, moments of quiet conversation with Him. Over time, these moments become like gentle reminders that you are not walking through life alone. God is present, right there in the ordinary places, right there in the quiet spaces of your day. Another struggle many people face is distraction. They begin to think about God, but suddenly their mind drifts. They think about work, responsibilities, problems that need solving. And when that happens, they often feel discouraged. They feel like they've somehow failed. But distraction does not break your relationship with God. In fact, walking with God is often simply the practice of returning your attention to Him again and again. It's similar to speaking with a close friend. Sometimes your attention drifts for a moment, but you gently come back to the conversation. Walking with God works the same way. You simply turn your heart toward Him again, and each time you do, that awareness of His presence becomes stronger. Over time, something beautiful begins to happen. Those small moments of turning toward God begin to shape the rhythm of your life. You start noticing His presence more often. You begin to experience peace in the middle of ordinary tasks. You find yourself thanking Him without even thinking about it. And gradually, the idea of spending time with God begins to change. Instead of visiting Him occasionally, you begin living your life with Him continuously. So today, as you go about your day, remember that walking with God does not require the perfect moment. It doesn't require a long prayer or a perfectly quiet environment. It simply begins with a small turning of the heart, right where you are, in the middle of ordinary life. If this encouraged you, consider sharing it with someone who wants to grow closer to God. And subscribe if you'd like more simple reminders that help keep your heart turned toward Him. Peace be with you.